Live from the John's Refrigeration Media Center at the East Valley Institute of Technology, this is 88.7 The Pulse, KPNG, Chandler, Phoenix, and KVIT, Apache Junction, Goldfield, Ghost Town, Arizona. This is Wrench Nation. Car talk, car culture, car tips, car music, all that is car. Wrench Nation Car Talk. Call or text your questions now. 480-655-8870 with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
It is your favorite time of the week, Wrench Nation here on The Pulse. Hello, Frank.
What is happening, Steve? And we welcome you guys back. You're hanging out in your ride. Maybe you're taking a walk. And, of course, you got your favorite podcast on Wrench Nation, your car care people. We take you on a journey every week. What are you doing, Steve?
Not much, just hanging, giving out the phone number, 480-655-8870. Remember, Wrench Nation is all about you. You're part of the Wrench Nation family, and we'd love to hear from you today at 480-655-8870 if there's ever something wrong with your car and you're wondering. Or we've got Wally Cahill here, and if you ever wonder about buying a new car, he can give you some advice on that. Right, Wally?
Absolutely.
Wally, yeah, it's a little bit more than that. You guys know, you've been listening for a while. Wally was at the doctor recently, and there was an anomaly that took place. And that anomaly, the doctors scratched their head, and they couldn't quite figure out the volume, the thickness of his blood. and Wally said, "Step back. I had the gear oil that runneth through my veins."
There
Wally,
you go.
That's
Wally,
right. That's right. 30 weight. Jump back. And it's not synthetic.
That's what it was.
So we welcome you guys
Yes.
back. Thank you so much. You guys have been awesome, so supportive, and keep your questions going. It's our community. It's your show, people. I got a story to tell, and that'll happen during the shout outs of an individual that reached out to us that we're going to share with you guys, that really compounds on the fact that Wally, Frank, and Steve, we aren't pomp and circumstance, man. We do some pretty cool events, but we are here for you, man. You know, we don't have an agency you got to go through. Right, Wally? I mean, that's what makes this thing so special.
Look, I gave out my cell phone this morning live on the radio. The cell phone number, I just said, here it is. I was giving it to a listener who happened to be a former student of mine here at EVIT, and I just gave her. I said, you know what? You guys are all my family. If you want to call me, call me.
Right.
We'll find out.
That's right. So if you're driving in your car and you got a little of that vibration going on, perhaps you're in that traffic mode on the freeway, and it just seemed to kind of come on, and you have this sort of dancing of the steering wheel, perhaps a little brake issue, or maybe that check engine light popped on, or hey, you developed an oil leak in your garage and your neighbors are looking funny at you. This is your show, people. No matter what show topic, understand that we will answer to our best ability. No crystal balls here for you. We're going to help you out, and that's really what the show is about. Text us or call 480-655-8870. We want to clear the air. Get comfortable, because, boy, we got a show topic, and we've got a show lined up.
What is today's show topic, Frank?
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of you have sat in your ride comfortably on your routine route, either to work or home. You are comfortable with your choice radio station, or perhaps you've got your tunes playing, you've got your coffee sitting.
All right.
And your ride should be about a 20-minute ride to work.
Yeah, about that.
No matter where you're at. You could be, well, definitely not L.A., because that's not a 20-minute
Right,
ride.
20 hours.
But the average of you are...
You leave once a week.
You are in a routine, and what happens is you witness an accident.
I've seen some.
Or you end up like I did
What?
last night on the 202, headed into Phoenix,
Okay.
probably about 6:30. Traffic just came to a stall, and I was on that freeway 2 hours to get into Phoenix.
Oh.
This show, people, that you know you can relate to, no matter who you are and what you drive. I don't care if you drive a 72 Datsun or you're driving a brand new Corvette. The wrong way drivers, the drunk drivers, the distracted drivers, the incredible vehicle technology that is actually keeping us safe and sound. So you're witnessing all this,
Right.
And perhaps you drove up on it and you're looking at it and all of a sudden we're like, oh, Lord, please pray that they survived. And people are walking away. Wally, you've seen wrecks over your time.
Absolutely.
And
And they don't walk away all the time.
they don't,
No.
but the fact is we've had some of these incidences. And so we're going to dive into the technology and the design of these vehicles that is keeping our idiotic behavior that's
Well,
causing a
there
lot
is
of this.
technology that cannot solve some idiotic behavior.
Well, maybe we do a show in the future. You dimwit.
Yes.
This is exactly what you
look,
should.
I remember, on I-10, right by the Deck Park, where they've got the 2 carpool lane exits up to like 3rd Avenue
Yeah.
and 3rd Street. Okay.
Right.
Years ago, guy comes by me, and this was back in the early 90s. And this was he had a late 70s Ford. I'm thinking maybe it was a Granada. It was cruising fast. He maybe comes by at 95 miles an hour, literally. And he smashes into the center of where the carpool lane separates from the normal lanes. That car just destroyed. I got up to him up there, and I literally see the guy just laying across like a board. You could just see how stiff he was. That's just stupid. And technology is not going to save him.
I think for the most part, we are out there driving. We have some behaviors. I mean, the show is not really to discuss those behaviors.
No,
right?
but I'm just saying
but
technology is not going to solve complete
it's-
stupidity.
It's not.
Maybe
you guys,
some stupidity.
You guys know that. So,
But not utter stupidity.
It's getting close.
Yes.
the drunk drivers, distracted drivers, and here in Phoenix, and if you're listening to this on the podcast, we upload that Sunday, and you're in tune to this conversation, perhaps in your backyard, Portland, L.A., definitely L.A., there's all kinds of stuff. Perhaps you're on the East Coast, Atlanta, New York. You know the distracted driving, and particularly the 2 o'clock in the morning drunkard driving fool
Yeah.
that's on the wrong lane.
Well, drunker drivers shouldn't even be on the road.
But at 2:30 in the morning,
Right.
you can't say, well, somebody was just texting. I mean, they could have been. No,
Right.
that's almost a guarantee. That was a drunken fool. So we're going to get into that technology, that amazement, that wondrous amazement of technology that really is keeping us safe. How are we walking away? How are these fools walking away? We're
We
going
got some news.
Yeah, we do. I'll tell you what. You guys remember, we used to drive up and down in our little cities, and we had these funky cameras. They would take pictures of us. Some of you got kind of cute, put little gorilla masks as you were violating.
I remember that one down the 51.
Well, I'll tell you, there was an Ohio village that actually decided the people rose up. They got their sticks, they lit fire, and they went out and complained in the streets of Ohio. And this Ohio village is working on paying back $3 million to those drivers ticketed by those speed cameras.
Really?
Yeah.
Now there is a law on the they're looking to try to pass it here in Arizona that will get rid of all the red light cameras. I like that.
Well, I think that was obviously was a big moneymaker for
Yeah,
municipalities.
sure
It was I mean, we needed not to break laws.
No, but you can't defend yourself against that unless they serve it to you. Technically, you don't have to even deal with it.
Yeah.
I have a story.
Yeah, do you?
Oh, snap. Wally, tell us about that.
Yes,
Well, just know that they do have to serve you.
they do.
When you sign that ticket, when you're cited by an officer,
Yep.
that is acknowledgement of service.
Yep.
Is what that is. That says, hey, he gave me the ticket. I understand it. When you get a red light ticket or
Yep.
a speeding ticket
In
from
the mail.
camera, yeah, you don't have to acknowledge it.
Nope.
You know,
Well, that's what this judge said. He said that apparently in New Miami, in where was the city we were in Ohio, you want to know what they call that? It's called an unjust enrichment.
Yes, there you go.
And basically denied these drivers due process. If you're listening and you've been behind some of those speed cameras, that's how
Because
you
they've
feel.
ignored it.
Well, you didn't have the opportunity at that time.
Right.
You were just caught in the act.
Well, let me tell you something that happened to me, though, because I ignored it. And then I actually had the date. Still, the state date was still a month and a half to come. But then they served me before even that court date. And I didn't even have to respond. And then they charged me more money and said, well, you didn't respond within the first 2 weeks or whatever. So therefore, we charged you more money.
Mine was about the same.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah. The end result was Scottsdale got my money.
Yeah.
Even though they couldn't really. Well, I shouldn't say they couldn't prove it because obviously
they got a
they
picture.
can count nose hairs with those cameras. They're really good.
Oh yeah.
Bottom line, don't speed.
You shouldn't.
Don't run red lights.
You shouldn't. I mean, January, of course, was red means stop. You got to be aware of this.
Right.
But in all fairness, life happens, man, and you get into a situation where, well, that light just turned yellow, and I am kind of halfway through it. So slow down. Can you time lights? Some people are timing lights. They're timing the red lights.
Yeah, you can't anymore. You used to be able to in the old days.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they have smart pavement. They have sensors in the pavement, and they actually adjust the timing of the lights to try to keep the traffic flowing, not to interrupt it.
Yeah, well, listen, I went to the therapist recently, and the therapist told me that I needed to get out and probably push myself. So I want you to stay tuned.
You never do that.
I know, but this is what we're going to pull off. You guys got to stay tuned for this. We are going to read one more news story while we Facebook Live with a drone, a working drone in the studio.
Uh-oh.
I'm hoping we don't break stuff, but stay tuned, and if you are, get on the Wrench Nation Facebook. Get ready. We're going live with the drone.
That means I have to put my clothes on. Wrench Nation continues. Don't go anywhere.
Car talk, car culture, car tips, car music, all that is car. This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
Now you got Tyler firing up the drone over there.
We got a drone working for you people in the background.
I put my underwear back on.
I called the FCC. They said it's okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the drone. I don't think this is a no-fly zone in here, so I think we're okay.
We're okay. We just got to watch the equipment. People.
Yes, exactly.
We got Wally Cahill back in studio. Frank and Steve here with your favorite Wrench Nation Car Talk show. This is your show, people. We are discussing a little bit of that technology that's protecting you.
Well, let's bring in the wiser
and
advisor.
we got to bring in
from Bolt On Technology. It is Mr. JB. Hello, JB.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Welcome back.
What is happening?
What's happening?
How are things going up there in Detroit?
Detroit.
You're not in Detroit. That's
we're out.
that's
we're
Billy Knuckles.
The Eagles, buddy. We're just out of Philly here.
Oh yeah, I get confused. Philadelphia, how's it feel winning the Super Bowl?
Oh my goodness, everybody's just nuts. And tomorrow's supposed to be the big parade, and they're saying 3 million people are coming.
Yeah, I was cheering for the Eagles. I'm glad they won. Glad they beat those Patriots.
Yeah, a lot of people across the country. That seems to be what the attitude was.
Did you ever have a doubt in your mind about it though in that game, or what?
Well, watching the game, it was a great game.
It was.
The way it went back and forth and all that. It was one of the best Super Bowls I ever watched.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
I tell you what, for every underdog out
Buckley's
there,
going to be happy too.
every underdog, that was our game.
It was.
It really was. I mean, nothing to take away from the Patriots, but definitely an underdog moment for years to come. If you're feeling sad and blue, just turn on the Super Bowl. I mean, that'll take you back. So I'd like to know, in your recent travels, you've traveled, you did a show, I think you guys were out in, what was it, Colorado with Bolt On?
Yep. Denver, yep.
And so I'm sure you've witnessed a few of your accidents, your average accidents, and maybe some of the big accidents. It's incredible how people are walking away from these things.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I'm going back a little while, but I walked away from a 15-car pileup.
Wow.
And that was pretty impressive. You know, it was an old '89 Mustang, but she took the beating, was 3 feet shorter, but I walked away.
I mean, I think that's pretty much the goal of all these, these car makers, that they want you to be able to walk away from any accident that may happen.
Definitely. But there's one problem that I have with all this technology, and you guys already broached it a little bit, is that I have a saying, and I think it's really true. Every time man makes something idiot-proof, nature makes a better idiot.
That's so true.
Oh, my goodness.
So true. That's a great quote. I like that one. I'm going to have to use that.
But as we work in the field and work on these vehicles, we see people depending on them. And what's even worse is the commercials showing the guy, oops, I just moved out of the lane and it brought me back. I don't care, and that's really scary.
Well, it was like that Tesla, which made it up onto YouTube. The guy was driving and ended up in the back of a semi, but they pulled the data recorder. That man's hands were not on the steering wheel for like 30 minutes. He thought he was in his living room. And at the same time, to kick it up the idiot factor, I think he was YouTubing this whole thing. He was like, hey, check me out. That's crazy, Wally.
Yes, that takes it to a new level. I mean, it really does. Technology is great. I like the crash technology. I think that's kind of what you're leading to. Whether Honda's got a great, it's called ACE technology. It's multi-layers of body laminate, so to speak. So when it crumples down and it kicks the motor out away from you so it doesn't end up in your lap.
We're going to dive in a whole lot deeper to crumple zones, the advanced driver awareness systems, all those things on a lot of vehicles that are working quietly. So, JB, you know, we've got this tradition that we started, not quite like Thanksgiving yet, almost, and you bring us and our audience, our lovely audience, a challenge question. And last week, the challenge question was interesting, although a little easy. So this week, we're hoping that you bring some spice, because I thought we lost a few listeners. They said, oh, this Wrench Nation is so rudimentary. So I ask you now, JB, what is the Wiser Advisor challenge question of the week?
Oh, excited. I'm excited.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's related to the subject matter of how cars can save us and let us walk away. And the question is,
Okay.
in what decade did the automotive airbags become standard equipment in automobiles in the U.S.?
Okay.
What decade?
What decade?
Did the automotive airbags become standard equipment in automobiles? And the decades listed are 1960, 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s.
All right, so we want a listener right now to call at 480-655-8870. If you can guess correctly, I'll give you 3-day tickets to the Pot of Gold Music Festival, but you got to get it right. First guess, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s. Which decade did airbags become standard in vehicles in the United States?
You got it.
Okay, we can't answer yet. We got to get a listener, 480-655-8870, but I think I know.
Wally's giving me signals.
I'm going to write it out. No, we're not on TV yet. I'm going to write it in the air.
Yeah, but if you think you know the answer, the idea is
call in.
We need your professional expertise.
Yes, we need you who knows better than even us. We want to give you some free stuff.
So, Wally mentioned a very, very strong point of a vehicle as it relates to the advancements in these crumple zones, people. Now, you may say crumple wumple. What do you crumple? What, muffins? We're talking crumple zones on the front of your vehicle that have really made its way. Now, back in the day, when we were lucky to put a seatbelt on back in the 70s, in 80s, who was again behind the seatbelt? Ralph Nader.
Yes.
Wasn't Ralph Nader?
Yes, along with the Corvair.
Oh, gosh.
I don't think I really started wearing them, though, until the mid-90s, personally, honestly.
I don't think any of us
No,
have.
I really didn't. Mid-90s.
1981 for me. I remember exactly when I started
Really?
wearing it. Yes.
Did they actually have the one that pulled across your chest or only in the lap?
This was in a Volkswagen Bug. So it was
just the lap?
No, it was a 3-point.
Really?
It was a 3-point.
Okay.
73 Sunbug.
All right.
Now, that crumple zone is essentially the structural feature that's built in that dampens. It's designed to absorb that energy and basically reduce. Now, you don't have to be, it could be just a sheer accident. We're not saying that it's all idiots getting into trouble.
No.
It could be just a bad hair day. You're in the wrong place, wrong time. You thought that one was left and that one went right and you both ended up. But it's designed to take care of that energy that is going to be realized. And you're talking about a car that's traveling at roughly 30, 35, 37 miles an hour. That's about 4,400 pounds of energy that can be impacted, and even greater. So understand those crumple zones are working. And Wally, I have a question. Back in the, not the 1920s, we won't hold you that far back, but in the 70s, were we thinking about crumple zones?
No, we weren't. And if you looked how they built the cars were like rock solid, big chrome bumpers on them.
The bumper was the deal.
Yeah.
But it was art. It was like you could look at it. It was sweet. It was nice. It was unique. But it was designed to save you.
No, it was designed to look good.
That was it.
What was happening is they were so hard and didn't have any give to them. All that energy was being transferred into you, the passenger.
Ouch.
Yeah, not good. Well, listen, stay tuned, guys. If you think you know the answer.
We got Ashley on the hold, and she thinks she knows it. But
all right, we'll
have
see.
to find out when we come back. Ashley, don't go anywhere, all right? Your chance to win Pot of Gold Music Festival tickets with Wrench Nation coming up next. We're getting our drone ready to go live stream. We'll tell you more coming up.
Car talk, car culture, car tips, car music, all that is car. This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
All right, we got JB, the Wiser Advisor from Bolt On Technologies, got our challenge. We have Ashley on the phone. Hello, Ashley.
Hi,
Where are you calling from?
Mesa.
Mesa, what are you doing today?
Nothing, just got off work.
Just got off work? All right.
Come on, tell the truth. You've been waiting for Wrench Nation all week.
You're
Come on,
so
Ashley.
excited.
Of course.
Have you heard about Wrench Nation before, or are you a new listener?
New listener.
New listener. Great. Well, thank you. When did you find us?
Well, I mean, I listen to you guys all the time, but I never listened to this episode.
Well,
There you go.
we really welcome you. We originally had the show from 4 to 5, and we moved it from,
Yeah.
we gave it an extra hour of madness. But so, Ashley, Steve, do you think Ashley's ready to answer this question?
I think she is. I think she sounds smart.
Ashley?
Ashley, how did you get the info? Are you taking a guess, or do you know this for a fact, or did you Google it?
I'm trying to take a guess.
All right.
All right. Well, let's, JB, can you repeat formally for the listeners? What is the question?
The question is, in which decade did automotive airbags start to become standard equipment in automobiles? The 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
All right. What do you got, Ashley?
90s?
JB?
Oh, wait.
Ow.
Give her a second chance.
Ashley, should we give you a lifeline?
Second chance.
Yes.
All right. It's not the 60s for sure. What do you say, Ashley? What do you think?
So you said it was, what was the other options?
70s or 80s?
Can I phone a friend?
No, you can phone me.
No.
You phoned us already. We're your friend.
Well,
Okay.
hang on a minute.
70s or 80s?
All right, let's see.
80s?
What'd you say?
What? What did you say?
80s.
Yeah. Well, all right.
There
Now-
you go.
Now, man, that was awesome, Ashley.
Hey, you know you had a 50-50 chance.
Well, I got to say something, Miss Ashley, because we have quite a few folks that call in and hang out on Wrench Nation Facebook as well. You were honest. You didn't get on the Wikipedia and you didn't get on the Googleness. So
Right.
thank you for your sincerity. For that, we are sending you some tickets. Steve, what do we have? for
Actually,
Miss
we've got
Ashley?
3-day passes to the Pot of Gold Music Festival, March 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Oh, snap.
And you're going to go all 3 days, or whoever you want to give them to. Hang on, and Bree will get your information, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on, Ashley.
Yeah, JB, a lot of people wouldn't think that the 80s, some folks thought maybe 90s, early 2000. Who pioneered these airbags like that? Who was doing that back in the 80s?
Well, actually, in the 80s, the people that started to install them as standard equipment was like the Oldsmobile Toronado.
Wow.
And the Porsche 944 actually not only got a driver's side, but it got a passenger side, too. And that's the thing. They started only with driver's side bags. And in the 70s, a number of manufacturers did offer them as additional equipment, but not too many people wanted to buy it.
We weren't thinking. We just got on the seatbelt wagon. We didn't want to mess around with those airbags.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems that way. But those airbags, boy, that's a controlled explosion right there. Have you been behind an airbag that lit up, JB?
Not inside a car, but with my experience, we've had to blow some of them off, and I'm pretty impressed with what happens there.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, is some of the driving materials, the chemicals that do it, are the same things that they used to use in the side rockets on the shuttle.
Yeah, that happens in nanoseconds. We've done some TV segments where, everybody wants you to light off an airbag in a safe condition, and we did, where it was basically on top of a garbage can and it was controlled. But a lot of folks don't understand how it works, and I think it's cool if we kind of cover some of that. There are these airbag sensors, these crash sensors, that they're essentially located strategically on the front and the side. Years ago was maybe one sensor up front, and when you gave that sensor a concussion, sort of the inertia from an impact, it would light that airbag up, and without you even thinking. I've been behind one of those. First time 4 years ago. And I think it helped me out because I prior to that, I was a little screwy. It made me even more screwier. But airbags do save lives. But, yeah, you may walk away with a black eye or.
It's like getting punched.
It is really. Yeah, that inflator. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but the thing that kills you in the accident is not the speed, but how fast you slow down. And the airbag acts like those big bags that they show on TV or movies when somebody jumps off a building and they land in it. It's the same purpose. It just slows you down so it doesn't hurt you, and that's the idea behind it, and it has to do it in like 12 inches.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It definitely saves lives. And now, of course, you've got curtain bags.
Knee bags.
Knee bags. Well, yeah, you're popping knees and hips and you're breaking ankles. The first thing you do, I mean, I did it, didn't even think about it. When you see it coming, you want to break and stiffen up.
Yep.
And that is not a happy day. Apparently, JB, these airbags go way back, sort of these air-filled bladders as early as 1941. And I guess the patents for those came out in the 50s. And they were primarily used tanks of compressed or heated air, nitrogen, freon, carbon dioxide, all kinds of stuff in those early systems. And they were used, I guess there was an industrial engineer, John Hetrick. And, of course, I'm reading this, people. I'm not smart enough to get this off the top of my head, I'll tell you that. But they actually messed with the designs in their 50s for this thing. Mm-hmm. And I guess they perfected it. And more importantly, it took that much time to actually get it to market legally. Wally, isn't that a lot of what happens? The engineers can do stuff to save us, but now we got to go through the legal stuff.
Yes. Or the government.
Thank you. I was waiting for somebody to say the government.
Yes. It's a conspiracy.
The government.
Well, conspiracy. Are you saying some of those UFOs had airbags? Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty incredible, the airbag systems, and again, if you look at a lot of the Europeans, I mean, that's just the way it is. A lot of European vehicles do start off kind of pioneering, cutting edge. We're going to get to traction control and ABS systems a little later in the show, but it seems like the Europeans, for premium cost, they came out with a lot of that, and they continue to. If you look at the camera systems, we're going to get to the camera systems that are working for us. But JB, isn't that the case? The Europeans seem to be cutting edge, and they release those things a lot quicker than we.
Well, definitely, and I think part of it is that whole legality thing, because they're a lot more relaxed over there about the legalities. They say, if you're going to be silly enough to go out and do something stupid, you decided to get hurt or die on your own. That's okay with us. When we get in the American market, there's so many of this, me sue you, you sue me, and if it doesn't work exactly, I'm suing you again. And that's what the big problem here is. So a lot of that stuff gets developed in Europe, and then eventually once it gets Americanized, then it's brought over here. I mean, just think about cars.
Americanized. You said Americanized.
You buy a certain car in Europe, but you can't bring it to the U.S. unless it's built to U.S. specs.
Now, unless you're Dubai. Dubai seems to be... We got the technology. Let's make it happen. Dubai currently has the flying drones, people. They have the flying drone. It's in action. They started that back in July.
What do you mean, the car that takes you places?
It is a drone, 200-pound capacity.
Well, I couldn't get in it.
Me neither.
You couldn't get in it.
I couldn't get in it.
What's going to take your child to daycare or something?
But my point is, regarding all the safety, we complain here, but at the end of the day, it's keeping us somewhat that much safe. I mean, I'm not saying that...
Maybe if we hook two of them together.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
Put half of me in one and half of me in the other.
Yeah, just one on each arm.
One leg each way. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing that. I mean, I ain't trying to suggest my Middle Eastern peeps are all less than 200 pounds, but who is getting inside of one of these flying drones like that out there? Wally, would you get in a drone if it was a 220-pound limit? Would you get in a drone that flew you from East Dubai to the western shores of Dubai? Would you get in that?
If there was alcohol involved.
I would do it.
There's not going to be any alcohol in Dubai, guys.
I would do it if it was already proven and tested. I would do it. I would have no fear of it. Wouldn't bother me.
Well, you don't have fear, Steve.
No,
I realize that.
I'm fearless.
JB, if I came to your house with a sexy-looking drone that was all pearled out and painted, would you get in my drone and come to my party at my house?
Man, I'm into trying that stuff. I think if it's safe and I'm under the 220, so I can do it, buddy, I would jump in there and take it for a ride.
All right. Well, that's what's happening in Dubai, and you guys know all this technology keeping us safe. It takes time to come to market because of the legalities. I think it would be if we didn't have the government, and I want to ruffle Wally's feathers a little bit without getting conspiracy-like, but could you imagine if we didn't have government agencies, what would that airbag look like, you think? Maybe.
I can't say.
Oh,
I had it, though.
he had it. I mean, think about it. If corporations could, in small business, medium and large, they were testing for safety, JB, but perhaps they missed a few things. That wouldn't be too good. And Wally gave me his answer on a sheet of paper. I'm not going to repeat it. JB, the government kind of keeps us square, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, definitely, because, if somebody doesn't set standards, and you know how much that fight goes back and forth all the time, if you don't set standards, that's where we have a lot of issues. So the government, unfortunately, comes in and sets standards, and not everybody's always happy, and also they can be pretty tough sometimes.
Yeah, that NHTSA, people, we talk about that. That's NHTSA, NHTSA. That's a great website. You can actually go, people, do a lot of investigation of a car you may be driving, some easy terminology to understand about that technology keeping you safe. You stick around. We're still trying to fire up this drone. It's not behaving. And we're going to come back and talk more about your crumple zones, people. You need to know about your crumple zones.
JB, hang with us for one more segment.
You got it, man.
Hold on, sir. We'll be back. Ranch Nation right here. Don't go anywhere.
Wrench Nation Car Talk. Call or text your questions now. 480-655-8870.
All right, coming up next hour, we're going to go live streaming with the drone. We got it going.
Yeah, we did. We had to do a little update.
Yeah.
It got a little needy on us, so hang tight. We're going to do some Facebook Live. I think we'll probably be, I don't know if any other radio station's ever done a drone live action.
Oh, I think they probably have.
Maybe.
In the studio? I don't think so.
In the studio. I don't know. Maybe you can call in and let us know if
Are we
this
going to
is
get hurt?
Maybe. We're going to try it.
Corey McCloskey on TV had to do this before.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
You heard it first right here on Wrench Nation.
We've also got the car quiz coming up next hour for your chance to win Arizona Renaissance Festival tickets. Huzzah! It starts this weekend.
Yeah, we got JB back with us from Bolt on the Wise
JB's
Advisor.
on the phone.
JB, thanks for hanging with us. We thought it worthy, man. So a lot of times we look at these vehicles. We're talking about the technology that keeps us safe in these vehicle wrecks. Many of us have witnessed it and said, "Oh my God, please!" Hopefully, those people can survive that. And we talked about these crumple zones. JB, do you want to dive in a little bit more about the basics? What's behind the crumple zones on these vehicles?
Well, what they're doing is designing the vehicle that when it hits something, we got to, as I said earlier with the airbags, we got to slow the body down at a certain rate. If it's too fast, that's where damage and we get hurt.
It's got to manage that crash energy.
Yes.
You
So
can't
what
be
they
too quick or
started-
too slow. Yeah.
So what they started to do is when they started building the front ends of vehicles, and that's where most of it is focused, they designed it so that when the impact occurs, the body of the vehicle is going to start to accordion. It's going to start to squash, and that squashing is giving your body a chance to slow down before you start to feel the energy. And hopefully all the squashing absorbs the whole impact or most of the impact, so your body feels very little of it. So that motion of crushing the car is absorbing the heat and absorbing the impact and slowing the vehicle down. And that's been a big lifesaver too.
Yeah, no doubt. And we don't, the cars seem to get smaller, Wally, like in design except that like the truck market's a truck market, but a lot of these, sort of two-door passenger, it seems like smaller and smaller. It's amazing that they can get the gas mileage they do, still have the safety factor, a lot of advancements in steel, they're just a whole less, they're just not as heavy as it used to be. That's a big deal, Wally, with a vehicle.
Right, but the cars now are more throwaway cars where they used to be repaired. You can still get repaired, but a lot of them now, if you have a
Well,
medium crash in it, it's a throwaway car.
You get that Hyundai, some of the, maybe the Hyundai Elantra, I remember. I don't even know if this Elantra is still even being made.
Yes.
Okay. But you light up all those airbags, Steve, it's a total because it's so expensive to replace the airbags.
Yeah.
If you get all the airbags on some of these smaller, inexpensive vehicles.
I mean, the car's pretty much totaled at that point, isn't it?
Well, not like if you took a Chevy Tahoe and airbags lit off.
Right.
The cost of the vehicle in equation to the cost to the insurance and value.
Yeah.
Not so much in a Chevy Tahoe,
Okay.
but on a small vehicle.
Sure.
It's pretty much a
I
throwaway.
got an idea. Let's take a small car that we know will be totaled if the airbags all go off, and let's run it off a cliff and see what happens.
See what happens.
Kind of like,
Driving.
I'll drive,
like
sure,
Niagara
why not
Falls.
with that?
Niagara Falls. See,
You know what? It's like
listen to the conversation, guys. Here's one of the big things that kind of surprising. You're talking about the cost of the car, and you're comparing it to the person surviving and walking away from the accident.
Right.
You know? So you have to think about that. I'd rather have a car totaled around me and be able to get out of there and live another day
Sure.
than, because I can always buy another car, but I can't get another body.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. A lot of our folks listening may have been in that situation, JB, where they had a Hyundai with maybe 47,000 miles on it. In fact, the matter of fact of this situation is they perhaps got into what they thought was a low impact, but airbag went off, passenger airbag went off, and now it's a $5,000 and $6,000 affair, and the car is totaled. And you have to, I get what you're saying. It's just, it's hard to believe how expensive this stuff can be on some of these entry-level vehicles.
I've been there. My stepdaughter took a Taurus that my wife used to drive and spilled tea on her sister, who freaked out, and she made a U-turn right back into a tree, not going much more than maybe 15 to 20 miles an hour, but just the way the car clipped the front end on the tree, it was totaled.
Yeah. Wow.
Because the crumple zone on the one side collapsed.
Yeah.
Well, some of you may be in the market for a new vehicle, and Wally's going to dive into the new vehicle review. Wally, where can we find these crash rating? I mean, people want to know, like, how safe is my car? There's a crash rating.
There's a crash rating 1 through 5 stars. A lot of times, unfortunately, I'm going to give you some bad news. A lot of times, those crash ratings are totally related to dollars and cents.
I know. I was hoping you wouldn't say
The more
this,
the
but
car costs?
Yeah, well,
are you saying it's manipulated?
Yes.
Oh.
Absolutely. Now they don't want to admit it, but it seems coincidental. I mean, I test a different car every week,
Right.
and I see cars come through with no rating, and I see cars come through with ratings. And I'm not going to mention manufacturers, but there's certain American manufacturers that kind of get cherry picked.
So I'm looking for a car. Well, my wife's looking for a van, and she wants to do some studying on. We want to be safe. She wants to do some studying on crash test ratings. This isn't totally legit in some occasions.
No, I don't think so. But again, I'm the conspiracy guy. If the government's
Well,
involved,
no, you bringing up some stuff. I mean, this is not a conspiracy show. You're not just throwing stuff out there.
No.
But it makes no sense to you why one vehicle would have, you said, a 0, not even registered up on the scale.
Right, hasn't been tested. Been tested. So I would think, all things being equal, across the board, if it's going to be a law, if it's going to be a service to the consumer, every car ought to be tested before it's
And who's the official tester of that?
Well,
Sam?
IIHS.
Okay.
No, this is the
The dealer's not doing it, are they? And we're
no,
putting
no,
that out. No.
Yeah. Well, the
Right, the crash test dummies. I remember them.
I
I just didn't know where they work.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration,
Okay.
NHTSA, NHTSA, and the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety are conducting these crash tests to determine that structural integrity. They do that frontal impact. They do the side. They do the rollover assessments. That was a big deal with the Firestone situation with the tires, and I know that's a one-off. Maybe you're this. We need to come up with Wrench Nation After Hours, and we let it all out. But just know that these crash test criteria exist. In fact, NHTSA in about 2011, they said we need to be more stringent. Again, this all goes back to that big number every year. It's like $35,000. You made me say dollars. 35,000 deaths on the road, and so we're just trying to test these things and keep them safe. But Wally, you say maybe that's manipulated. Maybe.
Well, I really believe it is. And it could be. I mean, don't get me wrong. Any testing is good testing. So kudos to the testing they're doing. I'd like to see it done fairly. I'd like to see it done with all vehicles.
Yeah, and not exceptions for the rule here and there.
Right.
Right. Interesting. Well, there's all kinds of tests that both the IIHS and NHTSA do. We've seen them. We've seen the crash test dummies, but they're also testing. We always think about the frontal and the side impact, and we see the airbags going off, and the dummy goes forward and snaps his neck back. But they're testing for roof strength, the rear crash protection, head restraint ratings. We don't think about the head restraints. That's interesting right there.
Well, you should because of the whiplash factor.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've seen cars driving where they just pulled it out. An older car that maybe it was broken, and they said, well, we don't need that.
Until you get rear-ended.
Yeah, so JB, we appreciate you. Thank you for hanging here on the Wrench Nation. Have an amazing week, brother. We'll catch you next week.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, the Wiser Advisor from Bolt On Technology. Wrench Nation continues next hour. Of course, we've got your car quiz with the chance to win Arizona Renaissance Festival tickets. And we're getting our drone ready so we can go on live stream, right?
Oh, we're going to try to pull this off for you, people.
It's coming up next hour here on Wrench Nation. Don't go anywhere.
This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
480-655-8870. That is our phone number, 480-655-8870. If you want to chime in on today's show, the topic we've been talking about is...
Well, that technology keeping us safe. We've all seen it, these horrible wrecks. And we pray, hey, hopefully they made
Even
it.
That guy, that crazy guy on TV a couple weeks ago got in a huge wreck and walked away from his vehicle. And the cops came. They show up at the wreck, and they're thinking there's no way this guy could have got out of there alive. They pulled their guns because it was a high-speed chase. The guy's already out. Everybody's going like it's him over here. But to think he walked away from that wreck that we saw, wow.
Wally, 10 years ago, a lot of these wrecks, folks wouldn't have walked away.
About 10 years ago, do you remember that Corvette that was heading west out of town, heading towards L.A. on I-10? Clipped the back of a semi, spun around. The back end of the car broke off right behind the seats, and he went skidding down the road on his butt, got up and ran away, and he was probably doing 120, 130 miles an hour.
Was there a dip in safety? I mean, were the boats of the 60s, the giant cars, I mean, they were just monsters, and they were so solid. Were those safe compared to the compact cars we had in the 80s?
No, they're not, because back then, number one, we didn't have seatbelts.
Right.
You stood up on the seat between your mom and dad.
Kids did, sure.
Yeah.
Yep, I did.
Yeah, you ate that steel dash that wasn't padded if something happened.
No, you're right.
Everything was transmitted to the people inside.
And what about the seat in the back of the station wagon in a rear collision? My goodness, I can't imagine that was good.
1963 Buick Special Station Wagon, I was there.
Yes, I cannot imagine that was a wise decision.
Probably not, but I got rear-ended one time in it, and we didn't get hurt.
Oh, good.
Yeah, if you guys are just joining us, 480-655-8870, your car care questions. This show's all about you people. We got
somebody on the phone. Who's
this?
Who
do we got here?
Hey, are you there?
Yeah, what's your name?
Monique.
Hi, Monique. How you doing today?
Well, I'm okay, but, I heard you guys talking about, like, headrests, and I'm Jean. I've got kids. My husband's tall. I'm super short, and I'm really concerned.
That's a good point. We didn't really think about.
I didn't think about it. May I ask how short is short?
Okay, so short is like 4'11".
Okay,
so I'm not a midget,
short.
But
No,
I'm close.
no.
I mean,
midget's not politically correct, so not a short person or vertically challenged.
Person,
that's okay.
A little.
That's okay. But yeah, good point with the headrest.
You're saying that hubby's comfortable and you get in it. You don't want to make a big stink about it, but you just don't quite fit right.
Yeah, it's like so we got a 2012 Honda, right? It's nice, and the way that it's shaped, it kind of tips my head forward, so it'll be uncomfortable. So I'll try to push my way back. And then the other thing I think about is the airbags. I mean, if it hits him, it's going to hit him in the chest. If it hits me, it's going to hit me in the face. And I'm always worried about that.
Well, back in the day, if you listen to Car Talk, they would have said prop up some yellow page books and call it a day.
There you go. What's a yellow page book?
Well,
That
yeah.
would be a better solution, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, Wally, she brings up a good point. And so talk to us about the angle of that backrest as it relates to sort of the headrest.
Okay, driving position is very important all the way around. A lot of people don't really pay attention to it anymore. They get in the car, they adjust the seat to where they can fit the pedals or press on the pedals.
All right, you're talking, let's establish that. What is the correct, like, we don't want to get too technical, but like my daughter, she's up close. She's like really up close, and I worry, but she told me she researched it. I'm like, okay, I didn't get into technicals, but what's the proper position for one to sit in their ride? How would you explain that?
Boy, it's really. I mean,
I drive my.
Is
I
there
wanna be
more than one
comfortable.
position?
Are you laying down?
Well,
You
I'm
know.
not talking your 67 Impala with Dr. Dre on a Sunday.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. So, basically, it's kind of hard to do on the radio, but what you want is you want to put both hands out, put them at like 10 and 2. You want about a 45-degree angle, in your elbow there, which is going to probably put you a little bit closer, Frank, than what you want to be to that steering wheel for you.
But that's okay.
Right, but that's probably okay for your daughter, because it's comfortable for her. And just like the NASCAR guys, a lot of times when they run 200 miles an hour, you see them run right up against the wall, and you're wondering, why are they running so close to the wall? It's like, in case they get loose and have a wreck, they don't have all that inertia going into the wall. So the same thing with the airbag. If you're sitting close to it, it's going to be better than sitting far away from it.
Well, we got a listener on the phone. She's really talking
so
about
I'm actually safer.
Yeah. I mean, with that, but let me ask you: does your Honda have the adjustable pedals? Can you adjust the pedal height? I don't think so on that one.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, that's a lot of people have that in there. And
Right. If you have adjustable pedals, that's just another adjustment. So
Yeah.
you have the
Some seats can go higher. Yeah.
Right. Seats go up or down. But what she's talking about is when she sits in the seat, she has the back part of the seat tipped too far forward.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead and click it back. If it's a manual one, click it back one click, and it'll take that pressure. You won't be laying back anymore.
Right.
You're going to be sitting up a little bit more on your own instead of sitting in the seat, but it's going to take that away from pushing your head forward so you're looking down at your feet.
Yeah, when they're testing the cars.
Well, thanks, guys. That's really good to know. I'm going to tell my mom too. She's 5 foot, so it'll matter.
Monique, when they're testing the cars, they're testing the average height of a female about 5'3.5", and for a male it's about 5'9".
Wow.
So when they're testing the cars, so if you go online and when you look for a new car, if you're concerned about it, there are a lot of vehicles. But you say you have a Honda, and Honda actually does do real well with people under that height.
Because of where it's made.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay.
guys.
Rock on.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for calling
Thank
in.
you.
I wonder if that applies to different. Like if I'm a Honda and I'm selling to cars. Hamana. If I'm Honda and I'm selling out in Africa, South Africa, and there's a different. I guess do they change it up? worldwide?
No. Even the European models or our models that are sent here, a lot of the Hondas that come into the country. My complaint when I test a Honda generally is the bottom part of the seat, the part you sit on, isn't long enough, so it only goes about halfway to my knees, and my legs fall asleep driving it. Where the Europeans have a little bit more length.
They do.
To their legs.
It's more lazy boy like.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
And it supports you all the way. So if you have lateral thigh support where the front of your seat moves forward on a nice car, a lot of them have it. Get that to where it goes almost to the back of your knees is the most comfortable.
I found a list of the best cars for short people: Honda Accord, Subaru Forester, Mazda 3, Lexus ES, Kia Niro, Volvo XC90, Honda Odyssey, Subaru Outback, Mercedes-Benz S-Class, Volkswagen Passat, amongst others. So there's a lot of them.
I love the Subaru.
Yeah.
I will. If I could give the Frank rating, I would put Subaru up there high. Mechanically, the accoutrements, all the little things that we like. I think Subaru's top notch. In fact, we ought to find out. Steve, look up what's the rating for Subaru, and I will cover some things here for you. How about we dive into those cars that, Wally, you mentioned.
Which Subaru?
Well,
WRX STI.
Well,
Let's go
no,
big.
we're not
Let's
going
go
racing.
big. Yeah,
no, we want to
man.
do an average. No, do the Outback. Do the Subaru Outback. A lot of folks are not going to have the
All right.
WRX
I'm
racing.
looking it up right now. Crash rating for Subaru Outback 5-star.
Yeah. Now, Wally said that some don't even make the list,
Yes.
and some are like 0 and 1. I figured we'd cover some of those cars, and I thought this was interesting. And we're not shaming any vehicles, but you ought to know, if we're going to talk about how we're staying alive in these cars and technology, how about those cars that are worse off in that crash rating? The Mitsubishi Mirage. That was the lowest rated subcompact car, people.
Did it get a star?
It basically scored an average in reliability and a poor in crash tests.
Okay. Because I tested, had to be 5-6 years ago, a Chinese car. It was a 3-wheeler. It was called the Remix 400.
Oh, that wasn't, wow. That was when Walmart said, hey, we're going to be selling cars soon from China.
Pretty much.
Was that about the time?
Yeah, that was about the. If you want to go on YouTube, it's on there somewhere. I know it is.
And tell us about it.
I drove this thing around town. It was scary. 400cc motorcycle motor, basically in the back.
Yeah. We ain't buying that.
Yeah, single wheel in the front. It did have. I mean, it was kind of like almost like an electric golf cart, except for it was gas powered.
One of the lowest rated luxury SUVs, and I like the style on these ones, the Cadillac Escalade. It's one of the lowest rated SUVs.
Really?
It was worst safety pick in its class. And again, people, this is according to Consumer Reports, man.
With or without spinners?
Well, yeah. God.
The Spreewells. You have to go with the basketball player, Latrell Spreewells.
When it came to worst, I don't know why this is in here, worst fuel economy in minivans and terribly poor scores. So both, this is a double whammy, not only in crash test rating, but you also got bad fuel economy, the Chrysler Town and Country, people.
Oh, my mom has a Caravan, but I think it's pretty much the same thing.
What year?
Well, this is based upon the 17 models,
Okay.
Wow.
according to this official.
But the 17 Caravan does come with its own vacuum cleaner built into the back to pick up after the kids.
Well, after you smash your car and there's glass everywhere, it'll be great to vacuum it up.
The Lincoln MKS, we've seen, is it Matthew McConaughey?
Yes.
Boy, he's selling cars on TV, I tell you what.
All the women.
Yeah. The Lincoln MKS, Matthew. If you're listening, Mr. McConaughey, in the Hollywood Hills, the Lincoln MKS didn't do
I
well.
talked to his brother the other day, by the way, Rooster.
Rooster.
Rooster McConaughey, yeah. He's like the Shark Tank for rednecks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Well, the Lincoln MKS, that's another beautiful ride. It didn't score well on the crash test rating. We're going to try to lift off on this drone. We're having a little difficulty. We got a phone call into Elon Musk. Maybe he can help us out.
He got the rocket going yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Hey,
So-
let's get somebody on the phone right now for the car quiz. 480-655-8870. You want to win Renaissance Festival tickets. 480-655-8870. Call now. We'll play right after this on Wrench Nation.
Car talk, car culture, car tips, car music, all that is car. This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
All right, Wally Cahill here too. New car review coming up in just a few minutes. We've got someone on the phone. John's on the phone. Hello, John.
Hello, how are you?
Good. What are you doing this morning? Or this afternoon? I figured it's not morning. I'm on both morning and afternoon. So.
I'm driving home from work.
Yeah, good. Well, you're calling to take the car care quiz here. Got a chance to win Renaissance Festival tickets for you.
Okay.
Now, this is not really car care, but we're going to
No, not
test
car
your
care. I would
knowledge.
say car care. Yeah.
Are you this particular question?
But if you don't care for this, then you're going to have a problem. So you better care for your engine.
I do.
Yes.
So this 4-stroke engine invented by Nicholas Otto, O-T-T-O,
Yes, the internal combustion engine.
the 4-stroker.
Yep.
What year was that invented?
Okay, so I'm going to give you a hint. Okay, because first we'll give you 3 guesses.
3 guesses, partner.
Do you have any idea?
Yeah, do you want to shoot out a number? When was the four-stroke engine invented? What year by Nicholas Otto? What do you
I
think?
want to say it was probably like 1920.
Okay, no.
All right, well, it's okay.
That's okay, because I'm going to give you another. I'm going to give you a hint, okay? It was in the 1800s, and Abraham Lincoln could have used it.
Oh, snap.
Oh.
I don't think that helped him out.
That has to help out some, maybe.
Maybe. All right, so we'll give you a couple of options.
Let's see, Lincoln was killed in 1864. So it
18
had to be before that.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
So do you have the year? Guess a year now.
1862.
Oh, snap.
So close. Okay.
All right, well,
One more hint.
we're going to give you one more hint.
The Civil War started in the same year.
Really?
Yes. So we're so close. We're so close.
I should have paid better attention in history, but I'm going to go 1861.
Yes.
Whoa, you got it, man.
Yes.
You rock.
Yes.
That's amazing. Let me tell you something. I'm going to just say this outright.
Yeah.
If I ever called in a radio show and tried to
Yeah.
answer that,
Yeah.
I would have failed at that miserably. Yeah.
Well, I know my history, so I had to, pull that out.
Well, good job, man. And so what are you doing this afternoon? On your way home or what's shaking?
Yeah, just driving home. Just got done working.
Well, I'll tell you what, we appreciate you calling in. We want you to head over to Wrench Nation Facebook, check out. Usually what we do is we do the show topic, we bring the video in from the garage. But more importantly, we are trying to attempt a drone live stream here in a little bit.
Let me say one more thing about that engine in 1861. So Otto, he had the engine in 1861. He had the engine. It just ran for a couple of minutes and then it broke. And then he tried to get his brother to help him.
Okay.
And his brother said, "No, I'm not interested." So he had to go back to work and get it really going. 1862, 1863.
It was just a few minutes, which is a big deal. Everybody had horses. Nobody messed around with it. They looked at him and said, "What is this over here?"
And the big one really started going in 1876, so it took a while. So there you go. And that's your day in history. Congratulations. There's your tickets to the Renaissance Festival. All right, we got the drone?
Well, not quite. We're having difficulties, but I promise you people, I'm going to do my best. We actually...
Low battery.
I'm going to say we go for it. All right, light it up, Tyler. If you're just joining us, the second hour of Wrench Nation, we're talking about the technology keeping you safe. We talked about crumple zones. We talked about some airbags. We are going to get into the whole, what they call the driver awareness systems, cameras and things like that. You ought to know. We are going to try to fire up this drone. We need to hook up to Facebook. If you guys are listening, get over to Wrench Nation Facebook and check it out.
It's time to like it now.
We're going to test this out. We can't operate a camera properly.
When are we doing this? Now?
Well, we're going to try to operate a drone properly.
Can I get a countdown going?
Well, get on to Facebook. Hang on, people. And if you're technically savvy, you certainly can call in and help us out.
I'm not.
Perhaps a drone pilot out there may give us some assistance, but we are trying to attempt to fly a drone live in the studio, and I think we're probably the only car talk show in the country.
I'll give you that one. We're
In
not the first radio station, but the first car talk show anywhere.
I don't know. I'd like to challenge that. I don't think has anybody flown a drone while they're doing a live broadcast
In the studio?
in the studio.
Well,
No,
yeah, I
we're not
think
in the
so.
parking lot.
I think so.
I don't know. I'm just saying this thing will light up here shortly. Of course, we got Wally Cahill. Big shout out to Wally Cahill, who's joined us in the studio. He's come in onto the show. I will say you can catch him, guys, on Channel 3 every Sunday. You can actually see.
Has the drone been de-iced?
It's de-iced.
Good.
Man,
We need that because it's so cold.
people in North Dakota are laughing right now.
They're
man.
80,
de-icing.
80 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Well, while we try to fire up this situation with the drone action, I thought we should dive into what some folks don't understand. The camera systems, they don't know about it for the most part. They may have been mentioned during the new car purchase.
Oh, yeah.
All these safety systems. Salesmen may have said, "Hey, yeah, you got cameras. It's keeping an eye on everything out there."
Really?
Yeah.
There's a camera in my truck. Maybe it's a 2015.
Well, I think the camera systems
Ooh.
understand.
Who's watching?
Well, if Wally said,
Hopefully you are.
Wally,
Oh, those cameras. I like the backup camera. and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe cameras watching me.
well, specifically, we're talking about these lane departure warning systems. Some
Yeah.
of you may have recognized that. In fact, you may be driving and somebody gets too close on the left, and the mirror will light up a little bit, and you see that.
Yep.
Wally, you test a lot of cars. That lane departure, have you ever had not a planned occurrence? I don't think you'd plan that, but you ever have one
Yes.
help you?
Oh,
Work
yes.
and do,
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. Motorcycles, when they're splitting lanes, actually set that off all the time, too. And what you're talking about, Frank, is in your rear view mirrors, your side rear view mirrors, there's usually like a little light or a little car that will illuminate if somebody is in your blind spot. And so when you're about a 45-degree angle coming off the back of the car, a lot of times you'll see it that way. And then from a lane departure standpoint, I think probably what we're talking about here is the cameras are up in the windshield right by your rear view mirror looking forward so they can see the lanes. And if you wander up against that lane without using your signal, it will either give you an audible or a little bit of a vibration on the wheel, maybe even a little tug back to get you back in the wheel.
That's that haptic thing.
Yeah.
Like our phones will give us a little vibration.
Wake up.
Right.
Wake up.
You mentioned sonar. Talk to us about, is that any difference with sonar?
Yes. So sonar is your adaptive cruise control, and that goes off the front of the car. And what that does is that just like just like a submarine, it sends out a little ping, to the cars in front of you. So say your cruise control is set at 75 miles an hour. You're cruising down the road. Everything's good. The guy changes lanes over in front of you, and he's doing 60 miles an hour.
All right, hold on a minute.
The drone is going.
All right, the drone is going. How come the camera's not
If
working?
that thing runs into me, I'm going to get killed and chopped into pieces.
Slicing and dicing.
And actually, the fans on it have cooled the room down by 20 degrees.
All right, hang on a minute. I don't know if we got a visual, and so you guys know I had to record this for some reason. So we are currently we got the drone fired up with the camera. I'm not sure. Justin, stand in front of it and see what's going on with that camera. Just kidding. No. So the idea here, it's we're trying to. Can you guys hear that?
Yes, I can. It sounds like killer bees.
All right, hang on a minute. We got to back up. All right, with the drone. Now this is the MVI drone. It's the and it's all right.
Autopilot.
Hang on a minute, man. There we are. We got a visual. All right,
We have a visual?
Hang on a minute. We got to change the camera angle. Now, so you know, we couldn't pull. Let me contrast this. We're going to light it up. This is our first inaugural drone in the studio, people.
Justin, why don't we have one of these?
All right, there we go. We got the camera system on, everybody.
Uh-oh.
All right, now I'm going to go about a foot above your heads.
All right.
Lower the camera down. And we're going to play this, by the way, on Wrench Nation because we couldn't get it live, but I'll get the tape.
Making me cold.
All right, hey, we gotta get this down.
And here now.
All right, I'm going to come forward now. All right, take over the mic. I'm drone piloting, people.
All right, that's right.
Wow.
All right, we're going
You're not
forward.
doing very good. There you
All
are.
right, we're going forward, people.
There you are.
There we are.
How are we looking?
All right, we're looking good, people. Oh, we're
You're
flying.
smashing the Wally and kill him. The wind is blowing everything.
Wait, it's
That's
blowing.
it.
Wally, can you see Wally? There he is.
Landing credit. Use
All
your
right.
mouse pad. It's
right.
gone.
Wait a minute. All right, I want to get. All right, guys, if you're listening, we got the drone live action in the studio.
Just so you know, that's a wide-angle lens.
All right,
good.
It's
You can fit me in
4K.
it then.
We figured if we're talking vehicle technology, let's get it live. And we're backing up now. I want to bring it down. It's got obstacle avoidance.
Is it going to stay with us during the break here?
All right, it's going to turn over to you. Oh,
Gonna stay with us during the
All right,
break?
what is up? Don't hit me, man.
Are you going the wrong way?
All right, back up a little bit. All right. That's what we're.
Ah!
Don't hit the window.
Don't hit me either.
All right, I'm going to land the drone because we want to be safe, people. Plus, we got thousands of dollars in equipment. But the drone action, I thought that went okay.
Yeah, I want one of those.
We couldn't go live.
All right, we're
Wally.
going to take a break. We'll be back. Wrench Nation. Wally Cahill's got the new car report, new car review. Coming up next. What kind of car you got, Wally? Oh, he's too busy with the drone. All right, that's next. I'm Wrench Nation. Don't go anywhere.
This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and
I
Steve.
think I'm in love. I'm in love with your drone.
Well, if you're just joining us back, we did pull it off. Actually,
I want one.
We did go live on Wrench Nation. Our first inaugural run of the drone in studio.
Want to spy on the neighbors.
Look for that in the future. I think we're going to continue on with the drone. And
Check out the pools this summer.
yeah, you like that drone, Steve. Wally were you recording live, Wally, or were you hiding behind your phone?
Both.
But it was pretty cool. So welcome back to Wrench Nation, your car talk, people. We are diving into that technology that's keeping us safe. And before we go into the weekly new car review with Wally Cahill, We talked about the crumple zone factor, what's cooking quietly in the front of our vehicles to sort of give us that accordion, spread that energy, keep us safe. We talked about airbags, all the crash sensors that are working for us quietly. And boy, we hate the word crash. In fact, I think it's more or less like people feel politically correct. It's an accident.
It's an accident if you crash.
Yeah, right? You don't want to say, wow, I crashed. Well, it was an accident.
Yeah.
And before we do this new car review, boy, we really got to dive into the driver awareness systems, these advanced systems that, on these Teslas, for example, which is not quite full it's actually semi-autonomous. It's not full autonomy. There's pedestrian detection systems. You can avoid hit. Hey, let's face it, in some of our bigger cities, in Portland, it's a problem. Folks want to bike, and we got to pay attention. And so these systems are designed to help us. Driver drowsiness detection.
That's big.
Yes.
I mean, have you been going to San Diego? I kind of almost fall asleep. I mean, it's bad. It's like hypnotic.
I've taken a lot of road trips, and you get out on some of those roads that are really boring. Like I-8 is a perfect example. And you've got really nothing to look at because it's just kind of desert, And maybe there's a little hump of a mountain here and there between here and San Diego.
Nothing's boring in my car.
No?
No. Life begins about 130.
There you go.
It'll keep you awake. You won't be drowsy behind the wheel.
You start going I-25 through New Mexico, oh boy, it gets boring.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
One of the other systems, and again, these may not be like life-saving systems that we're about to talk about, but the backup collision warning, that's pretty cool. That's been around for a while.
Yep.
Yes.
In fact, I think the backup cameras was mandated, almost like the seat belts and
I love that.
airbags.
And it's so valuable.
Well, for the big Pulse
the
vehicle,
Pulse van, which we don't, you don't even have a rear view mirror in that because that van, there's no
see
windows.
anything. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So you've got to have that. And that's very big.
One of my favorite, and Wally, I know a lot of these cars that you test, for the most part, the adaptive cruise control. That's pretty cool. I mean, you guys understand that cruise control, back in the day, you clicked it, boom, and it did its thing. But this adaptive cruise control, Wally, tell us a little bit more of how that works and how that's keeping us safe.
Okay, how that's keeping you safe. Imagine you're driving on I-8, you're heading towards San Diego.
Yep.
You're about an hour and a half into it. You're not quite to Yuma, Arizona yet. You're going through Dateland. There is nothing out there. If you don't want a date shake, there's
Smelly
nothing to look
cows.
at.
Oh.
That's it. That's it. The guy in front of you, you've been cruising about 85 miles an hour like a good person should be. That's
84. I keep it at 84.
that's
Stay under 10.
moving with traffic. Moving with traffic. Anyway, so you're cruising with traffic, and say you're in the fast lane, and all of a sudden a car jumps out of the slow lane in front of you, and he's going 60 miles an hour.
Oh.
What happens is that sonar pings it, sees the car, applies the brakes if necessary. If not, it'll just get off the gas. But depending on what's your closure rate and what you've got it set at, could be anywhere from like 100 yards down to about 50 yards.
Sure.
It's usually adjustable on how
Really? You can set it.
Oh, yes.
Very
yes.
cool.
Yeah. And it paces the car in front of you, and
It's tracking.
Yes.
Are you paying a lot extra for that, though?
I think at this
not
point,
a lot, but it's about $2,000.
Okay,
and it comes with a few other things. It might be like in
Well,
the Grand Touring or something.
I think so. The nice thing for the consumer is that it will eventually become more standard.
Sure, and the price will go down.
The price. I mean,
Kind of, but not even the backup cameras are standard yet.
I thought they were.
No. Like Mini Cooper comes to mind right to start with.
Maybe the rear alert was standard. I thought.
The sensors in the
We have
bumper. We'll have to look into it.
Well, I
We'll
mean, I
look
have a
into it.
15. That's only 3-year models away. I don't have a rear view camera or a beeper.
Now here's another one,
So
which I really like, and this will keep us safe, is the lane departure warning.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about it earlier, but I like that feature. I have the 15 or 16 Ford Explorer. My wife drives that. It's the SE. It's a nice model. And periodically, not so much that we're drifting out, but we can see a car coming in like they're probably doing whatever, but it'll correct it. It's pretty cool stuff. The corrective steering, that's a premium.
Yes.
And I have to stand corrected. Actually, the car that I have will not corrective steer. It'll warn you.
Right. Audible warning.
Audible warning. But there are cars, and I want to say in the European, it's always the Europeans that are cutting edge with it. will actually correct the steering.
Yes, we have them in American cars too, and,
We do.
and Japanese cars. And generally, the way they work is, literally, you could drive from here to L.A. and not touch the steering wheel. And what happens is it tracks. There's two cameras on either side of the rearview mirror. If you look at the car when you're facing it, and it tracks the lane markings on both sides. And when you get to where you're touching it, there might even be some of the cars, like the Camry I'm testing this week, has cameras up under the mirrors that looks down at the ground. And
That I love. We're
Yes.
talking about that surround view camera system. Before we
Yes.
dive in with this Toyota Camry, this is not at this point offered on most platforms. Is it a rarity? If I wanted to buy, let's say, a Ford, a Chrysler, is it available? It's only a select. It's Toyota right now.
Yeah, Toyota's got it. I'm not sure about the others, but it's the first one I've seen that actually goes completely around, does a 360 view right on your screen. So if you look at something, if you're sitting in your driveway, you're looking for your kid's tricycle, you don't know where it is, and it's underneath your rear bumper, you're going to see it.
Well, all right, let's dive in. We got a few minutes left. The new car review of the week, Wally. Tell us what did you test drive for the folks?
This week, we are testing the 2018 Toyota Camry XLE Hybrid.
Oh.
So, yeah,
Was there power behind that hybrid?
Surprisingly, yes. 2.5-liter four-cylinder motor mated with the electric power on it, making 208 horse with a CVT transmission behind it.
The CVT.
CVT.
Yes.
CVT.
Which you don't feel shifting as much as a standard.
No, you don't. And it's kind of, it's like a slush box.
Who's the ideal individual or family for this Camry, would you say?
Environmentalists. If you are green friendly, if you want to save the environment, this car gets 47 miles to the gallon, and it's a regular size car, seats 5 comfortably.
It has a composting toilet inside.
No, it
It's in the
doesn't.
trunk. It's in the trunk. It's in the trunk.
sorry.
But that's
Japanese don't mess
I'm
around
just
like
being
that.
green.
Yeah.
So
But
tell us, did you road trip this real quick? Because I
Yes,
think that's important.
yes,
How
I
did
did.
that go? How did that feel to you?
that's how I got the 47 miles to the gallon.
Comfortable?
Very comfortable. Nice leather interior inside there. A macadamian leather is what they call it.
Oh, God, macadamia.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
And it was a blue crush color, so it was pretty going down the road too. But adaptive cruise control, lane departure, all the bells and whistles.
That's the XLE model
that's
for
right.
Camry.
That's right. Got out there, cruised down to Tucson and back. I mean, everything worked great. 47.2 miles per gallon. Unheard of.
That's a pretty tight MPG. Does this have a spare tire?
Yes, it does.
Some of these cars
a
don't.
real one.
All right.
What
did you not like about this XLE?
The brakes. And it's inherently a problem with, I would say, almost all the hybrids because of the regeneration factor.
There's a different feel going on.
Yes, and I think we touched on it before. We were talking, Frank, is it's electronic versus hydraulic a lot of times.
Yeah.
So when you touch the brake pedal, there's a little switch, and you feel that switch.
It's solenoid-like as opposed to hydraulic-like. I get that. But you had braking. It was just a feel to you. I don't want folks to think the Camry's got bad brakes.
No. The braking was awesome. The feel, now, I'm like the Prince and the Pea kind of thing. If you put a pea underneath 20 mattresses, I'm going to feel it. Same, anything going on in the vehicle, low tire pressure or anything, I feel it. I'm so dialed into it.
Let's get right to the price point. We got about 60 seconds remaining. Tell us the price point on this one.
I love this because Wally always goes out and shops for the best price in the Valley. Doesn't get paid by anyone to tell you to go there. This is where he found the best price.
There you go. So MSRP on this, $27,800.
The XLE hybrid?
No.
Okay.
No, that's the base model.
All right.
As tested, $32,200.
Still not bad.
Yeah, $250. Now, interesting. I hit 3 different Toyota dealerships.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a deal anywhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the hybrid, I think, is stuff don't stink there.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty much. They didn't want a deal. They said sticker is sticker on it.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're pretty much paying sticker.
It hurt my feeling. It hurt I went in with the $5,000 under thing, and they just laughed.
Well, you guys,
sorry, Charlie.
that's you're talking hybrid, you're talking great MPG, you're talking Toyota Camry, you're talking comfort, the luxury, all these systems. Yeah, I don't know. You may not. Maybe work a deal in finance on that one.
Give me 2,000 at least. Give me something.
Wally Cahill with a new car review. You catch him every Sunday on our AZ Family Channel 3 TV. Stay tuned. We got Mr. Buckley hanging. We got some weird automotive news and some more on technology keeping us safe.
Wrench Nation continues next.
Wrench Nation Car Talk. Call or text your questions now. 480-655-8870.
I think we have a Wrench Nation fan who's a car tester who's testing a 2020 model of an American car. He can't tell us which one, though, because they do that out in the desert, south of the valley.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
And in fact, Arizona is a high spot for
Well,
testing
we used
vehicles.
to have the big testing plant out there in Mesa. What was that for? GM. And GM moved away from that. There you go, Wally. GM left that years ago and went to Mexico because it wasn't warm enough here, they said.
Oh, no, they're actually down by Yuma.
Oh, they are now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
that's where he's listening.
Yeah, when they left here, they went down just north of Yuma along the border.
Okay.
Well, all right, before we continue, it means a lot to me. You guys have really joined us, one big happy family, a little bit of gearhead action, some car care. Lots of you ladies have joined us on Wrench Nation Facebook, and I just thought it would be cool, and I'm trying to line this up here, to actually acknowledge some of you guys and Ooze Basic, and help me out, Wally. We'll just tell the story, and we got to do this quick. And I don't want to say we need 3 hours to get it out, but I just want to say we got to recognize this. The fella's name, and forgive me, guys, if you're listening. I just can't line up all of this on the phone right now, but I want to give you this story. I believe the gentleman's name is John Ooze Basic, UZ Basic, of UZ Basic Motorsports Pro Mod out in Washington State. He reached out to Wally on LinkedIn.
Yes, Tacoma, Washington.
And you guys got to talking. He runs racing, family affair.
Amen.
And-
Family motorsports, nothing like it.
Exactly. So Wally said, well, reach out to Frank. And he did. And we talked. And he was very elated. He was pretty excited. And I said, man, cut it out. I'm a shop owner just like you. Forget about the TV and radio thing. And we got to talking. And my point is this. I posted up on Wrench Nation. I had to. This guy's incredible. UZ Basic Motorsports. He's doing it with his family. He's doing it for his community. He wants to win. We all want to win. But within that journey, he's taking a bunch of people with him. And that is what it's about, people. We have Greg Buckley on.
We do. Mr. Greg Buckley is our Blue Hen of Delaware. How you doing, sir?
All right, guys. How's everybody?
We should call you the Blue Eagle.
The Blue Eagle. That's I'll take the green. Yeah, blue, green. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's close enough, right? Well, congratulations to your Eagles for winning the Super Bowl this week.
Thanks. Yeah. Wally was getting me hungry. Macadamia interior. Are you
Dude.
I thought I was in Hawaii.
Macadamia. I mean,
Macadamia.
Yeah, that's
like macadamia nuts.
It's everything. Actually, when you speak about these interiors, which
you could be nuts.
Well, you can.
There you go.
But no, seriously, these interiors have come a long way. They used to be all petrol-based, but now they're sugar-based. They're plant-based. You talk about being green. In fact, that's why we've seen an uptick in some of these rodent activities, because they're attracted to all that corn and sugar-based interior stuff.
That's right.
So
we keep the car clean.
We're all feeling kind of awkward on that one, but okay.
No, it's true. I've done several segments for local TV, and people have this misconception that these rodents are in there because they're hungry. No, man, they're not hungry. They're actually gnawing down their teeth.
Right.
So
sharpening them.
They're sharpening their teeth. But hey, so Mr. Buckley, I know you've probably seen your fair share of wrecks, and we talked about crumple zones and the advancements in lightweight steel. We talked about airbags and some of these camera systems. I'd like to touch upon perhaps some of the Volkswagen models. We've got a lot of mechanics listening from all over the country. Some of the training that we got to do to deal with these some pretty high-tech systems that aren't run-of-the-mill conventional. Talk to us about what a mechanic would expect for training to handle some of these camera systems and what we're up against.
Well, it's pretty intense, actually. I mean, you've got to have the new camera aligner systems that are coming out, which means that you've got to have your shop or a section of your shop completely flat, designated, mapped out, pointed out. I mean, all the angles got to be aligned perfectly.
All right, let's slow down a little bit. We got folks listening. You mentioned camera systems. Let's bring this back down a little bit. I'll use the Volkswagen as an example. For many of you going into the garage or the dealer, a lot of work in the engine bay for Volkswagen or Audi requires the full pull of that bumper assembly.
Right.
And we don't invite you back there after something like that or doing something like that because that's open heart surgery. It looks pretty ugly. So what you're saying is that these camera systems that live in that bumper, we could be done with the water pump or timing belt repair, put everything back, have fixed one thing, but the car is going to leave all going to the pull into the right situation. That's what
Absolutely.
you're talking about, yeah? So,
yeah, I mean, once we pull that front clip out, to put it what they call in service mode, we finish the repairs up, we got to put it back in, and then we have to adjust the cameras. Well, it's another series of events that we have to do so that you don't pull off to the left or the right, or that the camera sees correctly. I don't think we're allowed to have any more than a 1 millimeter difference.
It's
because
slight.
that can make everything
Yeah.
go completely haywire. And from a safety standpoint, you want to be able to see. Well, the car has to be able to see straight. It has to have its peripheral view. So all these calculations come into play, and they got to be accurate. So it's another step that I think that folks listening in the future, you're going to have to prepare to have like a camera adjustment as part of
service
or repair events.
Yeah. I think one of the things we talk about all the time on the show, without preaching, man, because we don't want to preach to people, but that brings home more to the fact that you actually got to research. Sure, you're going to check reviews. You want to make sure folks are accountable and things sort of feel right there. If they made a mistake, you got somebody answering and trying to correct things. Nobody's perfect. But boy, this is more than just, going to see if they have a few certificates. You may start interviewing their technicians and saying, hey, how many hours a year does your technician get for training, and can they work on this 17 Camry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to where you're going to have to. You have the trust, and we want the trust. We prove that, but the additional training and the level of training that technicians are going to have to go to in order to service the vehicle. The market will play itself out, and consumers will still, they'll come in and they'll ask. They should ask. They should say, "Hey, are you capable of handling this?" It used to be like an inferior question, like, "What do you mean, me? I can't. I can handle everything." Well, in some cases, you can't, and unless you're trained. So the consumer has every right to ask, "Are you capable of doing this?" And if you can't, where do I go? That kind of thing. But most of your quality shops are going to adapt. They're going to invest. They're going to be part of, the new type of technology that's out there. I think it's going to fall on the consumer side to definitely be aware of the increases for general services, especially, hey, look, instead of coming in for a four-wheel alignment, now it's going to be a four-wheel alignment. Oh, by the way, let's take care of your camera angles at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's important. Many of you listening, it's tough. We know it's tough to land a relationship or even continue. Like, we definitely got to do a show in the future. I think it was a year or so ago, we said, how do you, when do you fire your mechanic? But, Greg, we always enjoy you coming on the show. Buckley, celebrate that Philadelphia success with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. Cheesesteak, soft pretzels. Here we come, baby.
That's it. Rock on, brother. We appreciate you. Greg Buckley, Buckley's Auto Care out of
Dilly,
Wilmington.
dilly, or whatever they said, right?
It's right.
Thank you, Buckley.
All right, guys.
The Wrench Nation Wild and Wacky News on Wheels.
Well, all right, this is pretty crazy. People out in Germany, that's Deutschland. A German man actually goes out and buys 2 smart cars just to keep his driveway clear. I guess his neighbors were parking way too close, and he just said, hey, I'm done with you. So what does he do? He has no relationship with his neighbors.
You can put those in your living room, though.
Well, he bought 2 tiny little smart cars, and he parked it to the left and parked it to the right, just like he wanted. so he can easily pull up in his driveway. He was making a point. That's a pretty expensive point, but he got
Absolutely.
it done. That is your weird automotive news for this week.
That is Wrench Nation for this week. Of course, you can find us on Facebook with Wrench Nation, WrenchNation.tv online, and Wrench Nation on Twitter as well.
That's right. Catch us on iTunes again Sunday if you're just catching the show late, or perhaps you're joining us from a prior podcast. We upload the show every Sunday. We'd like to know what you guys would like to hear for show topics. And if you have a chance, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, and give us a comment. As I say every week, people, be safe, hug each other, and never forget to hug a mechanic.